Alright, so during my stream yesterday, we went over a bunch of different things that were introduced in the game, and on top of that, we also went over a couple of buffs and nerfs that happened. Now, it's no surprise that the biggest nerf that happened was to the Forgotten Fang, which it turns out that we might be getting an actual buff for it in the part 2 of the Fish Miss update, which is technically this weekend coming up now. But one rod that did end up getting pretty insanely buffed was the Eternal King's Rod. Now, you guys know me, I actually don't have the Forgotten Fang or the Eternal Kings in the actual main game. I have it over in the test server, but I really wanted to focus a little bit more on trying to get it over here in the main game instead of having to always go over there. So as soon as I ended that stream, I started my entire farm session on getting every single one of the materials that I needed. I'm gonna be honest, that was probably the first mistake I made. The journey to getting the Golden Pearl was pretty treacherous. It was about a 9-hour ordeal, which was, well, I mean, if you just go ahead and take a look at my inventory here, this is basically all the pearls that I ended up with until I finally got the Golden Sea Pearl. I favorited all of them so that way I could keep it and show you guys just how long this took me to get. But eventually, I did end up getting the 2 sea pearls that I needed, and then I was super excited because I was like, well, the next part that's going to be a little bit difficult is going to be getting the Infernal Wood, but it really shouldn't be that bad, right? Well, that was technically true because it only took me about 2 or 3 hours to actually get the Infernal Wood, but it still took me 2 or 3 hours. It was insane, and again, something I probably could have avoided just by going over to the test server, but it is what it is. Now, I know that you guys are probably watching this video. For those of you that notice all the fine little details, you probably see something a little bit weird on my screen. We'll talk a little bit about this later on in the video. If you stick around, you'll get the information that you're looking for, but if you don't, then it is what it is. Either way, let's focus up on the matter at hand here, which is getting ourselves the Eternal King Rod. Now, again, in order to obtain this, you need to go ahead and get yourself 3 Infernal Wood, 2 Golden Sea Pearls, and 1 Lunar Thread. Lucky for me, I do have 1 Lunar Thread, which I just randomly so happened to have gotten while I was fishing. Realistically, I need to get more of these. I actually need to get 1 more of them so I can make the Forgotten Fang. And for that, I feel like I'm pretty decently prepared. Hopefully, I'm able to get one from all of these treasure maps that I've saved up, since it is a bit more common to get them from the treasure maps than it is from fishing. Now, because we are about to craft this, I need to go ahead and unfavorite every single one of the materials because technically they don't count in the actual crafting station unless they're unfavorited. So we got the Lunar Thread. Let's go ahead and unfavorite our Infernal Wood here, as well as both of our Golden Sea Pearls. Now, when we make our way over here, it actually allows us to go ahead and craft this. Aside from the materials, we also need to pay 250,000 coins. But yeah, if you take a look over here, man, there was actually some pretty decent buffs that were done to the Eternal King's Rod. 55% lure speed now, 0.2 control with a 10% resilience. I don't remember off the top of my head what it was before for lure speed, but I do know that the control was a 0.1 and the resilience was a 0%. But anyways, let's go ahead and craft this. There it is right there. You have unlocked the Rod of the Eternal Kings. Now, I guess let's go over the whole reason why I'm even sort of excited to test this rod out, and it's mainly because of its passive ability. It says every 30 seconds, a 10% chance to summon a royal escort, boosting luck by 150% for 20 seconds. If you miss a catch, there's a 15% chance of immediately catching a higher rarity fish. Now, for the most part, we're going to be putting this up against a rod that's technically considered the best rod in the game right now, and it should be a fairly even comparison considering, you know, this one is level 650, so technically it should be better than the level 500 no life rod. Now, I know that I'm saying that it should be, and a lot of you at this point are probably like, it is definitely not, which to a certain extent, I would agree. When you look at the numbers, it makes sense the no life rod is better, but I'm curious to see if maybe in a certain scenario, this rod could somehow outperform money-wise the actual no life rod. Now, the next step is going to be for us to enchant this, so we're gonna have to transition over there and see what would be a good choice for this. Now, realistically, there's 2 paths that we can sort of take with this. We can either go ahead and enchant this with Abyssal so that way it does have some type of mutation with it, especially since mainly our test for today is going to be around money. The lure speed is at 55%, so we can pretty much max that out or at least get very close to it using bait. But technically, if we go with Hasty, then it'll be an instant catch. Control being a 0.2 is fairly decent. And now with the 10% resilience, we also don't really need to put resilience on this at all. Now, the one that we're going to be comparing it to is, like I said before, the no life rod. And I think that the enchant that I'm going to go with this is probably one of the more popularized ones that a lot of people are using right now, and that's quality. The only reason that I am going with that is, again, because most people are using that, even though personally, I would probably put Abyssal on it. But whenever I say that, people call me crazy because it already has Hex mutation. So I think that's my final choice, man. We're going to go with Hasty as well as quality. Now, let's let's see how long this absolute torture is about to take me. All right, so a lot of attempts later, and we finally got hasty on the rod. Perfect. Now we need to get quality on our no life rod. Please be way more forgiving than that last one. Getting back-to-back hasties literally just as I got hasty for Eternal is the most spit in the face thing the game could have ever done to me. All right, so that one wasn't too bad. Took about, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 different attempts. Either way, we got quality. So now it's going to come down to the actual testing part. Technically, for the most part, I have not tested individual areas. For example, Ancient Isles Waterfall versus Depths Money Making. So for that reason, I'm going to choose just the more popular one for the time being until we go ahead and actually run a test video on the different areas. Currently, the more popular one is Ancient Isles Waterfall. So we're going to head over there right now. So either way, let's transition over to the waterfall. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I already purchased the 2 Aurora totems, but I was kind of thinking about it, and realistically, these 2 rods are being compared based off of their overall just money making. I should be testing these with no luck whatsoever. The reason I'm saying this is because realistically, the Eternal King has the upper hand over the no life just because of the fact that it does have the 150% luck rather than the 100% luck that the no life rod has. On top of that, another thing that's keeping it right above the no life rod in the luck department is the fact that it has that 10% chance to get the Royal Escort. So I feel like it's best if we go ahead and just set up a 15-minute timer, no luck whatsoever, no Aurora, no server luck, no Merlin luck, nothing like that. Just straight up the rods with not even any bait whatsoever. I think this will be really interesting. It'll put it in a perspective where, you know, not everybody has the luxury to be able to go ahead and get into an Aurora 24/7 lobby or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like this will be way more interesting. So obviously I will go ahead and play the entire time lapse for you guys, and I'll have little timestamps so you can go ahead and fast forward if you're not interested. I'll try my best to go ahead and add like maybe a stopwatch on the side for the time lapse, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I've never done that before in editing, so if I don't, forgive me. What I will do right now is set up a timer for 15 minutes on my phone, and I just thought about it right now, but you could actually keep track of it with the double XP on the bottom left hand side. Either way, let's go ahead and start this off with the no life rod and quality. Only thing left is to go ahead and clear out our inventory here. There we go, 75k for everything that was in our inventory, and we start right now. All right, so there we go. 15 minutes are officially up. Thankfully, the shiny surge was only for like the last 30 seconds. In total, we got 72 perfect catches, so that accounts for 720 cash because you do get 10 cash every single time that you get a perfect catch. Now, as far as the grand total, it is going to be sell inventory 22,534 for 15 minutes. Now, keep in mind, this is with absolutely no luck whatsoever, just straight up fishing 15 minutes, 22,500, which honestly, it's kind of crazy because if you really think about it, we've done a lot of these tests. Usually in an Aurora run, we've seen as high as 170k for those 15 minutes, and we've seen as low as 50k. So to know that you're only earning about 22k with a no life rod without any luck whatsoever here at the waterfall is kind of crazy. Either way, next up is going to be Rod of the Eternal Kings. Same exact thing going on here. No bait whatsoever, no luck, straight up just fishing. I'm going to keep track of how many perfect catches we get, which I like to point out that including the 720 from the perfect catches, it should be give or take about 23,200 for the no life rod. Let's go ahead and start getting some predictions in the comment section right now to see if this is actually going to perform better. Something in my stomach is telling me that it is going to perform better, but I don't think it's going to be that much better. Either way, we're going to sundial to get rid of this shiny surge that's going on right now. I want just a straight up clean time of day with absolutely no bonuses whatsoever, and it looks like we may have gotten one here, and it kind of works out perfect because the last one we also did it at nighttime. With that being said, let's start the timer and let's see how this goes, man. I'm kind of excited. All right, so technically the timer is up right now, but I'm going to count this fish just because the timer ended while I was in the middle of catching it. And I'm going to be completely honest, man, throughout that entire 15-minute run, we only had Royal Escort proc one time. If you watch back the time-lapse footage and you actually slow it down a little bit, you'll notice the part where it happens because I moved the camera to try and get a thumbnail. But yeah, it basically makes like a golden whirlpool in the water, and we actually ended up getting a mythical from that. So obviously this is all going to be determined based off of just absolute luck. But what we're interested in right now is whether it's going to beat the 23,200 cash. And the simplest answer to that is, let's see, 40,800. That is a huge difference. Now, to be as transparent as possible, I did only perfect catch 61 fish with this specific rod, which I mean isn't the absolute biggest difference from the no life rod, but it definitely is a little bit more of a challenge to go ahead and get perfect catches with this, which I mean really doesn't matter. 62 perfect catches is 620 coins, 72 catches is 720 coins. That isn't really going to make or break the difference here, considering it quite literally almost doubled it. Now, a lot of this is pretty obvious. It's because this rod just has a lot more luck, which means that you're going to be catching a lot more legendaries, just higher rarity fish, which sell for a lot more. As someone that's max level now and really wants to just purely focus on money for the upcoming updates, I think I will be making my transition over to using this rod pretty much for the foreseeable future. And while I'm grinding out the materials to get my next lunar thread so that way I can make the Forgotten Fen, so we can prepare for that buff update that's coming next weekend. Now, I'm curious to hear your opinion in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys plan to go after the Eternal King? Are you going to stick with your no life rod because it's just a lot easier to use, which I will go ahead and say that it is very much easier to use, even though it really isn't that much of a difference, but you know, to each their own. Moving forward, if you guys are interested also in me doing another one of these, but just with a bunch of rods doing actual full luck, maybe we can do that during the week. So talk to me in the comments, man. Hopefully I earned a like from you guys. Subscribe to the channel for more daily fish content. Sorry this video is a little bit later. Like I said before, this has been taking me hours to record, and I blame it all on those pearls, man. Really quickly, I will touch up on this whole entire thing that's up here that I'm sure you guys have already noticed throughout the entire video. I have been chosen to be the content creator manager for Fish, so I will be in charge of pretty much all the content creators. So therefore, I am an admin now. Nothing changes. Everything is still the same. I am not really handling anything super crazy. The only thing that I am handling is the major events that we have coming up. So be on the lookout for those. We got some pretty exciting stuff planned, but like I said before, this is purely just for the content creator side, so nothing is really going to change. I also love how I just got a Royal Escort just kind of standing here. Anyways, man, just wanted to be transparent with you guys. I will see you in the next one. Take care.